we'll move it on, guys. The next chapter in Anthony Joshua's rise to the top of the heavyweight division takes place on the 12th of December. That's at the O2. Tickets for his fight, by the way, with Dillian Whyte sold out in just 5 minutes. The pair have met before, actually, as amateurs back in 2009, and Whyte won it. He surprised everyone by knocking Joshua down before going on to win on points. Here's Joshua's take on what happened.
We trained twice a day, Monday to Thursday. I got a call Thursday evening, asked if I wanted to fight, no problem. Took the fight with Dillian. Later on found out he was a high-level ranked kickboxer. Got banned from the amateurs, turned professional. I went on towards like the World Championship, representing Great Britain to the Olympics. Then as he turned professional, he was telling people he's going to beat me when I turned pro. So when I was asked, I said my part, he said his part, he said his part, I said my part, which has led to this part, which is pending for December 12th, where we're going to get it on, and words will be rested and fists will be clashing.
In the contest, which went to points and he won, you were knocked down. What do you feel about the knockdown? To me, it looked a little bit messy. You got up straight away, but obviously he'll have a different opinion.
I feel, yeah, I agree with you there. Like, I feel it shows courage. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. I stood to my feet. I carried on the fight. You know, and I feel he needs to work on his killer instinct if he's got a chance of beating me, because he didn't take me out. You know, if that was a professional contest, who knows, the ties could have changed 3 rounds later.
And he says at that time that you weren't only beaten, you were beaten up. What's your version?
No way, no way, no way was I beaten up. A beating up is someone on the floor unconscious. This is the fight game, this is a gladiator sport. I got up, I carried on fighting, you know, and that was that. So I don't believe that he gave me the beating of my lifetime, which he describes it as.
You were beaten up. No way. That's Joshua's side of the story. Mike, how much do we read into that fight 6 years ago?
Well, you'd expect the loser to say not much, but it was a long time ago in terms of what they've done since then, as well as in terms of years. Whyte was having his first amateur contest, although he did have a decent background as a kickboxer at that time. Joshua was also in the very early stages of his amateur career. They were both very raw. It's highly competitive if you take a look at the fight online. Both have moved on in their different directions since, but Whyte also has clear recall when it comes to that night.
I just remember it just being war. I remember my coach saying, "Oh, this guy's had 4 fights. He's knocked everybody out. I don't want to make the fight." And I just remember saying, "Listen, I proved my coach wrong. Make the fight. I'm gonna beat this guy down." And that's I just remember just plowing over him like a steam train and beating him down round by round.
And you've spoken about how important the memory of that can be, that you don't forget a defeat.
You never forget a defeat. There's 2 things. A defeat can do one of few things. It can either inspire you to do better next time you face a person, or it can affect you mentally, which will affect you physically the next time you see that person. I'm not saying it will affect him on the night, but I'm just saying it's in the back of his mind, and it will always be in the back of his mind.
But you have to give him credit for what he's done since then.
Yeah, of course he's done great. He's won an Olympic gold medal. He's taking out the trash in style. He's knocking everybody out. So, you know, of course, you know, I mean, like I said, it's a hard fight. I'm expecting a hard fight. I'm not. That's why I'm away in training camp training. That's why I've taken myself away from my London surrounding and gone to places at my comfort zone and preparing myself properly. I'm expecting a good fight. I'm expecting war.
And just looking at the blemish on your professional career, where you were suspended for 2 years for a positive drug test,
Yeah.
How do you explain that away?
Listen, I don't even want to comment on that. That's finished. It's done. Anybody that wants to know about my case and what happened, go on to www.ukd.
But what's your version of what happened?
I ain't got no version. I'll let people decide. The case is out there. I'm not going to... This is what...
If you're letting people decide, they will make up their own idea, and rumours will surface about what you were up to.
I don't care what people think. It's been 3 years ago. It's behind me now. I've rised above it. I took the suspension. I did it. I come out on top, and look where I am now. You know, so I'm not going to keep defending myself. People can think whatever they want to think about me. As long as my family have the correct opinion of me, that's all I care about. That's it. You can make your mind up. The case is there. If you read my case, you see. I've never cheated once, and I'm never going to cheat. I'm not going to defend it. Sometimes with these things, the more you defend them, the more ridiculous you sound. And I've been defending it for 3 years, and I'm tired of it now.
Dillian Whyte with Mike Costello. Mike, I've got to pick up on that final answer. First of all, his blemish, as you put it, that suspension. He says, I've got no version. So why is he so prickly about it still?
Yeah, he feels he was made a scapegoat. He didn't know at the time. He says that it was a banned substance. It was something called Jack 3D. It was a substance that was freely circulating around gyms at the time, particularly in bodybuilding gyms, and it contained a banned substance, and he was banned for 2 years from October 2012. And I was looking at what United Kingdom Anti-Doping UKAD, who we've been hearing about this week in relation to the Russian doping scandal, said about it, and they said when he appealed against the suspension that if a participant establishes in an individual case that he or she bears no significant fault, then the period of ineligibility might be reduced. In this case, he couldn't prove that he had not any fault, and therefore they upheld the suspension, and he's spent 2 years out of the sport, came back in around November of last year. So it's a 2-year suspension, and UKAD didn't listen to what he had to say in terms of trying to prove his innocence.
A word, Barry McGuigan, from you on this fight, just before we speak live to Anthony Crolla. Does Whyte have any chance?
In short, no. I saw the first fight. He genuinely knocked Joshua down. But the difference is that Joshua then went on to campaign at the highest level, world silver, Olympic gold, a couple of questionable decisions in the Olympics, but that's neither here nor there. What he's been doing is competing at the very highest level with pinpoint accuracy, all the timing, the sparring with world-class fighters gets you, and it brings you and elevates you to another level completely. I think this would be one-way traffic, and I think Joshua will deal with him very quickly. I want to have a quick word on that. It would be remiss of me not to mention the drugs situation, and I'm not particularly pointing the finger at anybody directly, but I just believe that if you take performance-enhancing drugs in boxing, you should be banned for good. Not for 3 years or 2 years. You should be banned for good, because the difference is that in running or in cycling you can run faster, you can cycle faster, but in boxing you can kill somebody. That's the difference. So that's how serious I take it, and I would have no tolerance attitude towards it at all.
So this is a fight then, in your eyes, that shouldn't even be happening? I'm not going to comment on that. All I'm saying, I've said what I've said. If you take that sort of stuff, the performance enhancing drugs is lethal in boxing.